Hello everyone, I am Erika of beadingschool.com and you are watching Coffee Time with Erika, my weekly beady broadcast. Today we are going to talk about the possibilities that how can you turn your beaded motif into a pendant or a necklace. So before we would start, please let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. I would like to know if the technical stuff is all right. And Facebook user friend says that she can hear me and see me. And Debbie is here and Jessica is here. Wonderful. Katie is here. She says tech is working. Great. I'm really happy. Kristen says greetings from the USA. And Irina is here too. So you can watch today's broadcast live from the Beading School Facebook page or from the Beading School Club. And later we will also upload it to our YouTube channel, so you can watch the recording. It also stays on Facebook, but in addition, it will also be available on YouTube, and we will still be like monitoring the comments to see if you have any questions, if you need any help, whatever. So even if you are not watching this live, then just please remember that we are looking out for you. In the meanwhile, Tanya joined us and more Facebook user friends, and Marianne and Sherry and Gunel is here and Miriam is here. Katja, Robina, Elena, Corinne, and Christina are here too. In case that you did not hear your name and I said like, hi, we have a Facebook user friend here, then it is because you are watching from the Beading School Club, that is like a closed space on the internet. So my broadcasting program needs additional permission to see your name and face. You can give permission to my program by clicking the link that is in the description about the video if you would like to. So, and Robina says, so excited for today's topic. Thanks for addressing this. Well, I think this is a very important one. We often say that, yay, motifs are universal. And actually, I feel it very restrictive to divide jewels and tutorials into categories like necklaces and earrings and brooches or bracelet or whatever. In my opinion, it is a limitation that is very easy to cross, and it does not necessarily cover the true possibilities of the design when you see it appear, like, for example, what we beaded last week during No One Has to Bead Alone, Zuzi's Joan earrings. We said it's a pair of earrings, but in fact you can turn it into anything that you would like it to be. Or actually, I brought a little example to show you this, the Amatea. Again, earrings. I designed it originally to be an earring, a pair of earrings. We did this during the day. This is Treasure Beading School Academy team. So earlier this year in July and August. However, like this was my original, like a very simple earring, but then we have here from Susan a longer earring, a statement earring. We have here a pendant beaded by Terry. We have here a brooch beaded by Ariane. We have here a full necklace by Yosin. We have here another very different necklace by Yenny. And then even a bracelet by Elena. So you can see that basically there are very, very few motifs, I think. And I'm not sure I have ever seen one which can become only one thing. So by learning a few basic tips, basic tricks, then you can do whatever you want. And today, and also during the next broadcast, because I actually decided to divide the team into two, at least two, as I see now, two videos, because it is so extensive. So so now we will be focusing on how you can turn the motifs into pendants and necklaces, and it is enough if you learn a few tricks, and your beading horizons will widen like enormously. So before you would dive deep into the topic, I would like to recommend two articles on the Beading School blog that I wrote earlier this year. And both of them, they come extremely handy when you are making finished jewels out of your beaded motifs. So the first, it's a two-part series. So the first of the two parts, it shows you how to join beaded motifs to each other to create like a bracelet or a longer earring, or even like join components to become a necklace. And then the second of the series, it shows you how you can join to each other metal components and beaded motifs. And that one shows you how you can join the components in both ways, even if the loop is facing towards you or sideways. So those are actually two tricks that are enough to know, and then you can do whatever that you would like to do. And in the meanwhile, Antoinette joined us, and Sandra and Yosin, and some more Facebook user friends. And Sarah is here. And Louise, Ula is here. More Facebook user friends. And Ginny. So today and Anita, hi Anita. So today I would like to look into, let's say, to the theory, that what are some best practices about shapes, about connections, but on a design level, let's say on a theoretical level. And then next week, when we continue, then I will share you some of my favorite tricks to make it happen. So in the meanwhile, I'm also going to share my second camera, because I have a bunch of jewels around me. I showed you during the weekend that I'm in the process of like reorganizing my beading room, getting back everything to order. I have this like up and down journey, when at one point my beading room is super organized and super neat and super nice, and then when I'm getting too busy, then I don't have enough time to put back everything where it belongs, or I'm just getting an older bead order from the treasury and I'm lazy or don't have time or don't have containers to put everything away, so then it becomes messy, and when it's beyond like enjoyable, and then I get it back to the nice and neat and comfy level. So during the weekend, I started to do that. And now my table is again covered by jewels, this time not by beads, not by seed beads everywhere, but I have jewels like all around me that I would like to show you today. And I see a question from Jessica. I would like to ask you, Jessica, and everyone here. I'm really happy to answer questions, but now, until we walk through the topic that is the theme of today's video, let's stick to what I'm at the moment talking about to stay on track. And then please remember your questions, make notes, whatever, and please ask me whatever you would like me to explain, to show, to specify at the end when we closed this theme for now. So thank you so much for your patience, Jessica. I would love to talk about that. So let's not forget. And in the meanwhile, hi Cindy and Vania, Brit Marie. Oh, Sarah says, call me next time. I will organize it for you. Hop on an airplane anytime. And hi Sue and hi Nicolene. So back to necklaces, and let's share my second camera. Please let me know if the sound is still okay, because now the sound can come from two different places, from the two webcams, plus I have a microphone, an external microphone. So before I start, please let me know if there is an echo or if it's okay. Okay, Brit Marie says it's okay. Jeannie also says that the sound is good. Then let's start. So basically, there are two ways how you can turn beaded motifs into pendants or necklaces. And the first one that is super easy to do is to create or add a ready-made bail. I'm going to show a ready-made create a bail. I mean, like bead a bail or add a ready-made bail. So this is, sorry, just a moment. Okay, now it's not mirroring anymore. So a bail is basically a loop that is sometimes from metal, or it can actually, as I said, be made from beads that is attached on top of your pendant, and then you can pull a chain or ribbon or a strand of beads through it to hang the pendant around your neck. And bails are super practical because you can use different kinds of cords and chains with the same pendant, adjust the style, adjust the length according to your neckline. You can match the color of the beads to your outfit. So it is absolutely personalizable for every occasion differently. And I like this style because I just I can adjust the necklaces, pendants as I would like to, and I like to have a bunch of different necklaces on hand that are pretty universal, so then I can just add that finishing touch when I'm dressing up. One of my own tips when making a bail or choosing a bail that I have learned sometimes 10 years ago the hard way is that when you are choosing or making a bail, then you have to make sure that the clasp actually fits through the loop, because it has happened to me in the past that I wanted to add a specific necklace, and then actually I had the opportunity to attach the endings at the end, because it was a chain plus clasp, but I attached the clasp before I had to glue it on, and it did not fit through the bail anymore. I know it's such a stupid mistake, but at that time, when I did that for the first time, it just did not come to my mind. So this is one possibility, that you don't have a necklace that is permanently attached, but you have a loop in whatever style, so you can change the necklace accordingly. And instead of using a bail, you can also string a beaded necklace or attach a beaded rope or chain to your motif permanently. And it can be done in a way that the strand of beads is attached at one single point to the beaded motif, like here with the sounds pendant, or it can also be done in a way to create a different effect, that you divide the chain into two, so then it gets divided around your neck. And a little trick that I would like to share about this. So after I attached the strand of beads, then I was beading back and forth through this part to make it sturdier. And one or two times when I got to the contact point with the pendant, I actually skipped the round 11 Miyuki seed bead to make it into a V shape. So it depends on your personal preference how you would like to make it, but that is just a tiny, tiny detail that you can adjust according to the to your personal preference. And in case I have some examples when the chain is divided into two. So it's here with the Charlotte pendant, and then I have also an older design called Virapuksha. It's actually the name of a temple in India, and here I also attached the beads directly to the beaded motif, and I divided it into two. As you can see, in both cases, I'm using 6mm beads with some size 15 seed beads in between, but while the Charlotte has a chain from pressed glass round-shaped beads with a smooth surface, the other one, I used here fire polished beads in the same size. So I just felt that the smooth beads in Charlotte and also the circular shape, they were asking for a matching smooth necklace, let's say. And the more pointy, edgy pendant, I felt that it's more fitting to add the fire polished beads with the facets. And if you are, by the way, dividing the chain into two parts, then I have a feeling that design-wise there is a difference that you might want to take into account, that when I am adding the strand of beads with one contact point, then I have a feeling that the focus is also very strong at this part, at the contact point. But when I divide the chain into two, then the focus shifts back completely to the beaded motifs themselves. So that's something to keep in mind. And I would also like to show you an example where there are actually more than two contact points. Just a moment. I have here a smiling Zuzi with her first publication in her hand. That is the Flower Storm necklace that was published in the Beadworkers Guild magazine. And as you can see, she created a necklace out of 3 identical motifs. And between the middle one and the ones on the sides, there are 3 strands of beads, but then she completed the necklace with a single strand behind the neck. I love this picture about smiling Zuzi, by the way. And this was the theoretical part that I wanted to share with you, just a little summary to keep in mind the possibilities about the number of contact points and the shape, how you can create a basic necklace. Of course, there are many, many different possibilities beyond this, But these are some basic ideas where you can start your journey and then expand and try and experiment and make your beady dreams come true. And in this, let's say, second chapter, I would like to talk about how to connect the strand of beads to the beaded motifs. In what way, or with any decorations, how can you attach the strand of beads to the beaded motifs? So if I go back to the Charlotte motif, then just a moment. If I go back to the Charlotte motif, then you can see that there is nothing extra between the beaded motif itself and between the strand of beads. There is a single piece of size 11 round Miyuki, and then the 6mm pearl, and then it switches to like size 15 6mm, size 15 6mm, but there is nothing extra. The strand of beads can be directly connected to the beaded motif. However, you can go beyond this very basic solution and make her necklace, even the connections, super nice. So you can, for example, just like with here, I have a pair of earrings because I could not find fast a necklace that is finished in this way, but imagine that this would be a little pendant, and then you can also add a bezeled cabochon, square stitch, bezeled, peyote, it doesn't matter, and then you can switch to the strand of beads. So that is another possibility. You can also create a little beaded decoration, which helps you to transfer from the beaded motif itself to this strand of beads. So here, this is the Antea necklace. It was also published in the Beadworkers Guild magazine at the beginning of this year. And here I could have attached the strand of beads directly to the motif, but I wanted to create something extra there. I actually used a gem duo and some fire polished beads and seed beads, the same ones that are included in the motif, to like make this crossroads where the two tips of the motifs are meeting with the one strand of the beads. In the meanwhile, oh, I see a question. I just noticed it now. Brit Marie says, how many times do you suggest to go around the chain of beads with this thread? And that is a super good question, Brit Marie. Hi. So I go around at least like 2-3 times. If I am starting a new thread for the necklace part, then I like to do it right away with the double thread, because then it is less work to have as many thread passes until I feel that it is secure. But if I continue directly from the motif to the necklace part, then let's say at least 3. You also feel it that it is like tightening up. One thing that could happen when you have a simple beaded necklace, just a strand of beads like this, that after a while the beads become a little bit loose, and you would have like a millimeter or 2 gap between the beads with the thread showing. So that's also why you want to tighten it up, not only for the strength so it doesn't break, but also to make sure that it gets as long as you need it to be. The feel of the chain, it will change a little bit once you fill up the holes. So I hope that answered your question, Britt Marie. In the meanwhile, also Lutka joined us. Hope you are all right. And Antoinette, Joyce, Zuzi joined us also. Zuzi, we were just talking about you and your flower storm necklace a second ago. So that's another possibility. So we had like directly connecting the beads with a cabochon, with some decoration, with some beaded decoration, a little extra detail, but also you can combine different stuff or use also metal elements. So I brought you several different examples. Here I have an unfinished necklace because I don't have enough beads yet. So here I connected a strand of beads to a filigree. There will come another strand of beads here. And then the filigree is connected at one point to the beaded motif. So it's a V-shaped connection. Then another possibility, here I actually glued on the passiflora motif to a filigree, to a big filigree, and then I added a bezeled cabochon and a beaded veil. So you can even combine all these possibilities. And then I have another one. It's another bead embroidered necklace. I did not show you the other one yet that I wanted. So a bead embroidered necklace. And here I used a metal circle that I simply inserted and sewed to the foundation before closing the ultra suede and the leather backing, or in this case actually imitation leather backing, to each other. And then to the circle I attached the beaded veil, as you can see. This is bead embroidered, but you can do something similar also with a bead woven motif. And actually we have two golden colored little circles included in the flowers in the hair box. So if you want, then you can also use them this way, for example. You have two connections, so it's up to you, or maybe for an earring. So those were some ideas for the types of connections. And today, the last third topic that I would like to talk about is that what kind of chains can you use for your beaded motifs? So as you could see, a super easy solution and fast is to use simple strands of beads. You can combine seed beads, fire polished beads, bigger pressed glass beads. It's up to you. I used here Delica's size 11 round beads, 4mm fire polished beads, and 6mm pressed round beads. But you can also use just one type of bead, or a combination. I would recommend using size 15 seed beads between the bigger beads to give them a little movement. It also is more comfy, I would say, if you have some small dividing beads between the bigger ones. But if you have more time and more patience than me, then you can also make something more complicated and more time consuming. So for example, I have here a tubular bead crochet necklace. This is again a bead embroidered pendant. I've beaded, oh my god, maybe like 11, 12 years ago. So this is bead crochet, and I actually beaded also the bail and beaded the connections and the clasp for this. Tubular ropes are super popular. You can also make a herringbone one, for example, or actually I have here one that I really treasure this. I have here one that I received from Sarah as a gift. So this is actually chenille stitch done with size 15, two colors of size 15 seed beads. And Sarah beaded it with, well, in fact, my favorite neutral colors. But also I would recommend to anyone to like have a beaded chain or two on hand in some neutral colors that you use a lot, because then, as you can see, I don't have a pendant on this at the moment because I am also using it for some more, not just the original one. And I see that you have some questions, so let's see. Kristen says, any suggestions on how far apart to put the connections when connecting in different places on the motif? Or are there suggestions for length of necklace, which way you might use? So I would recommend, thank you for the question, Kristen. So then I have here another bead embroidered necklace with two connecting points. So I would say that if I make an imaginary line from the center of my motif, okay, I don't have better tools now, towards the necklaces, then this is more or less the angle that I like to have. Let's say it's like maybe 60 to 90 degrees, but I think this really depends on the exact motif and the beads that you have on hand. If I used smaller beads here, then I think I would have preferred to push it a little bit towards the top to make a little bit smaller V here. But with the bigger beads, I wanted to keep them further away from each other. And thank you also everyone for the nice comments in the meanwhile. You're super kind. And then a Facebook user friend says, could you use teacup beads or could that make it too tight? You mean like seed bead, teacup bead, some bigger bead, another teacup, and then seed bead again and repeat it? If yes, then I would totally do that. Why not? The teacups would be like little bead caps around the bead. I think that would look lovely. And Ula also likes chenille, just like Sarah. So, and let's look into some other types of chain. You can also, if you don't fancy tubular chains, or you just don't feel that they fit your pendant perfectly, then you can also make up a chain basically from all kinds of little motifs. There are many, many, many different possibilities. So you can make a beaded chain even if you don't want to crochet, or if you don't have the time to do the chenille or something time consuming. So I have here the Zelda earrings, but why I wanted to bring them today is because they have this Art Deco style part here. So this kind of chain could also be used on for your necklace. So, and it works up really, really fast, especially if you are using 6mm round pearls like I did here. You can find the tutorial, by the way, on the Beading School blog. So it is a beaded chain, but it doesn't take so long as it needs, as you need, as you can do it from bigger beads too. Or you can go totally crazy and you can bead something like Ruxandra did with the Josephine necklace that actually she created. A kind of, I would say that it would be also perfect as a separate design, a bracelet or a nice necklace. But here with Ruxandra's necklaces, it is just part of it. And Miriam says, in the meanwhile, I prefer chenille ropes from Crochet. I have to admit, I have done chenille ropes only once in a very, very short variation, because I learned the crochet like maybe 12 years ago, and then that's what I got comfortable with, but I rarely make one. And Miriam says, are you sure it is stable enough for a necklace? I guess the pearls will pop out with time. Like, I think if you would use like I don't have a feeling. Thanks for the question, Miriam. I don't have a feeling that it would get unstable. I think it really depends also on the thread tension. So, and also on the size of the purse. So if maybe you want to have it tighter, stronger, then you can downsize and use 4mm purse instead of 6mm and repeat the thread passes a few times. But I don't have a feeling that I would be afraid to use it in a necklace. And then Vanda is asking, are Kumihimo and Crochet the same thing? They do look similar, however, they are not the same. Those are two different techniques. So crochet is when you are using like one metal hook and you are crocheting, like when you, in the same way as you are crocheting hats, for example, but you have beads on the strand. And Kumihimo, you have like several strands and you have to like play with the bobbins, like 4, 6, I don't know how many bobbins, there are a lot. Nancy Pikolik from the groups, she's proficient at Kumihimo, so you can ask her if you need advice. And I also have here my rose petal flower necklace, because here I also beaded a chain for the necklace, but not a tubular one. So you can see that that would also work. This is actually very similar to the pearl chain that I showed you earlier, but with smaller beads and a little twist. And as you can see, you can always add, for some extra bling, some bezeled cabochons, some bigger motifs in front of the necklace, but also at the back of the necklace to make it truly, truly special. What I discovered recently is that I also like to use, by the way, metal chains when I am aiming for a simpler look. So that's when I actually put I totally use metal chains also with beaded motifs. But to start with something simple, just want to show you. This is one that I used. I don't have a pendant on it at the moment, but one of my recent favorites is this simple snake chain from the bead shop. It comes complete with the adjustable chain and with the clasp. So I use this with the starfish pendant. But also there are some more like interesting variations of chains. So you can make the chain yourself more interesting by adding some extra beads to the chain itself. Or I really recommend keeping an open eye. This is, sorry, another one where I added some extra beads into a simple chain. But you can also I really recommend keeping an open eye at flea markets and concept stores. One of my recent discoveries is this wide snake chain, and I was actually using this for the last time with the pendant from Sarah. So I did not feel that what I'm wearing, it goes well with the chenille. So then I switched it to the snake chain for the last time, and then I can wear it closer to my neck. And this one I found in a little boutique, and they had it in gold and silver too, and I really felt that this is worth the investment because they are so neutral that I can wear anything basically on them what I like. So this is what I have prepared for you for today. Some theory, some basic ideas, chains, whatever. And then next week, I said that I would like to share with you 10 of my favorite tips to make the connections. So, but now I'm at 12, so it might be more than 10. I hope you will not mind. So those will be some very specific solutions. While today I wanted to stay a little bit on the theoretic level. Okay, I'm back. Jana has a question. Would you please flip Sashiko over so we can see how you have the bezel on the back? So here it is. This is actually one of the tips that I want to share next week, that you can glue a metal component on the back and then use the metal component maybe with an additional beaded part to hang the pendant. So this is a little teaser of what might be coming next week. And actually, if you want, then I can show you how I finished I have that big pendant that I beaded from the flowers in the hair box. And if you want, I can share it with you how I finished it. He finished it, and tell you how I plan to hang it. In the meanwhile, I see that Robina has a question. she says, say you permanently attach a beaded chain. Is there a beaded removable way to lengthen the necklace other than a chain extender so the length would be adjustable? And that is a super good question, Robina. And I actually have several thoughts flipping over in my head. Is it okay if I return to it next week? Because now it would be like very improvised, but I would like to think it over a little bit and bring a little system into it to like look into the possibilities. And Cindy says, in the meanwhile, you have inspired me to finish all of the beautiful pendants I have made with the Academy boxes. Video helped you to like finalize the ideas. Then it already achieved its goal, and I'm very, very happy to hear, and I can't wait to see all your jewels. And someone says I'm a teaser. Am I? I am. I'm a horrible teaser. And I'm so actually proud of this. And I know that this is not everyone's cup of tea because it's yellow and it's very colorful and it's a little bit weird. So I know that some of you will like it, some of you won't like it, but I'm really happy with the technical solutions. So I'm looking forward to share it with you, the tutorial, very soon, and it will bring you lots of different ideas for technical solutions in your beadwork. So this is it. Still the necklace part is coming, and I fixed the table cut beads in a way that they are not turning around at all. And I didn't want to go a classic peyote or other kind of bezel. I wanted to add a bit chunkier beads, and also I really love how the smooth circular shape of the two-hole cabochons, the mushroom beads and the 3mm round beads, they are all like strengthening each other. So that's why I chose this solution. Ginny says, Ginny is a big brooch fan. She says, this could be the best brooch ever. And I have to agree with you, Ginny. Like, I think this would look awesome. Also the size, everything. So it is possible to turn this into a brooch. We should do a how to turn it into a brooch session one day. Miriam, I hope you're not alone at home if you're fainting. Thank you, ladies. And Tanya says, I have a box with maybe 20 or more pendants and just one metal row that goes with all of them, and I can easily switch between them. And that's wonderful, Tanya. That's exactly a super good solution. Miriam is thinking about turning it into a ring. I can't recall any beaded motifs when I would have said that, oh my god, this is too big, but maybe today I would say that it is too big, also for Miriam, too big for a ring. And the necklace chain, I was thinking, Joyce also says that I would like a pendant, but not sure where to add the necklace chain. So yeah, I was thinking about this a lot, and my decision is that I will add 2 strands of beads here That's how I felt that the cross shape of this and the colors would still stay in focus, how I wish them to stay in focus. So it will have 2 strands of beads. And oh, Ginny says a bracelet. Wow. A very, very, very festive bracelet. And also, yeah, brooch session. We shall do a brooch session. And Robina says, do you have some variations of beaded bells that you could teach us or make tutorials of? I actually have a bunch of them. So yeah, I can make a list of my favorites. And ladies, if you have now the feeling that you would like to bead this maybe in some other colors too, not only in the originals from the from the Flowers in the Hair collection, or if you chose so many jewels from the Flowers in the Hair collection that you need a bit more beads, then today I am bringing you a new special deal, and I know that Vanya will be very happy about it. Vanya, are you here today? I saw you earlier, and I'm looking for my picture. So from today until next week's Coffee Time with Erika, so that's Tuesday, 5 p.m. Central European Time, we would like to offer you a super nice 15% discount for the 6mm 2-hole cabochons. Those are the pink ones in the bezel. So we are using all kinds of big beads for the bezel. So it actually works up super fast. Also for the mushroom beads. The mushroom beads were, let me get back this one. So here we have the mushroom beads. And since we are talking so much about all kinds of fruits and vegetables these days, the pumpkins, the potatoes, the bananas, then I remembered that we also have melon beads available in case that you are in the mood for melons. So we included also those one, round super duos on the back, and round drop duos, sorry, and super duos. So all can be yours with 15% off. While Edina, my sweet colleague, she was today tending to the bead bundles, so she added some new bead bundles, including for the mushroom beads, including for the 2-hole cabochons, and she also restocked many of the 2-hole cabochons. So sold out colors are available again. So happy bead shopping to everyone. If you would like to stock up on something. And some important information still, that on Friday I am looking forward to bead with you the Imagine motif. I don't say anymore that it has to be an earring, the Imagine earring, because it can be, as you see, whatever you would like it to be. So on Friday I am waiting for you with the No One Has to Bead Alone workshop, and we are going to work together on the Imagine design. On Saturday, it is storytelling night again. So 𝐁𝐄𝐃, our friend, international storyteller, she's bringing to all of 4 turquoise and fuchsia level Beading School Academy students a new wonderful collection of stories and tales from all around the world. So you will find the link, the Zoom link. This is happening through Zoom in the Beading School Academy virtual classroom. Please don't go through the ordinary lunch break link, but there is a tile in the under the theme where you will find the special Zoom link. So thank you so much, everyone. And if you don't have any more questions, then Jessica had a question. Jessica had a question about the bolero. Yes, it's beaded. It's called Serendip, and it's completely beaded, and it's crazy because the back is even more beaded. So I hope I answered all of your questions for now, and thank you for your company today, and wishing you a nice creative rest of the day, rest of the week. Take care and see you on Friday. Bye bye.